Chunking. Chunking is breaking down information into smaller, manageable pieces. For example, if you have to memorize a long number, break it into chunks like 123, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0. This makes complex information easier to digest. It's like eating a big meal in smaller bites, rather than trying to swallow it all at once. This technique also works well with lists and definitions. Mnemonics. Mnemonics are memory aids that help you remember information. For example, to remember the order of planets, use a phrase like, "My very educated mother just served us noodles." For Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune. You can also create your own mnemonics for difficult terms or lists. They turn boring facts into fun, memorable stories. Try making silly sentences or using rhymes for better retention. Visualization. Visualization involves creating mental images of the information you're studying. For example, if you're learning about the water cycle, imagine the process in your mind. The sun heats up water, it evaporates, forms clouds, and then rains down. Drawing diagrams or pictures can also help. Visualization makes abstract concepts more concrete and easier to remember. It's like turning your notes into a comic strip. Mind mapping. Mind mapping is a visual way to organize information. Start with a central idea and draw branches for related topics. Use colors, images, and symbols to make it more engaging. For instance, if you're studying biology, your central idea could be human body, with branches like circulatory system, digestive system, and so on. This technique helps you see connections between ideas and improves understanding. Active recall. Active recall is all about testing yourself on what you've learned. Instead of just reading your notes, close the book and try to recall the main points. For example, after reading a chapter, write down everything you remember without looking at your notes. It's like doing a mini quiz every time you study. This method helps to reinforce your memory and makes the information stick. Practice tests. Taking practice tests is a powerful way to prepare for exams. It simulates the exam environment and helps you identify areas where you need more review. Use past papers, online quizzes, or make your own tests. The more you practice, the more confident you'll become. Plus, it helps reduce exam anxiety since you're familiar with the format. Pomodoro Technique. The Pomodoro Technique is a time management method where you study for 25 minutes and then take a 5-minute break. After 4 sessions, take a longer break, say 15-30 minutes. This keeps your mind fresh and focused. It's like giving your brain a mini recharge every half hour. You can use a timer or apps designed for Pomodoro sessions. SQ3R. SQ3R stands for survey, question, read, recite, and review. First, survey the chapter to get an idea of the content by skimming through headings and subheadings. Then, turn these headings into questions. Read the section to answer those questions, recite the answers out loud, or write them down. Finally, review the material to reinforce what you've learned. It's a structured way to get the most out of your reading and ensures you're actively engaging with the material. Dual coding. Dual coding involves combining words and visuals to learn better. For example, when studying biology, look at diagrams along with the text. Create charts, graphs, or draw pictures related to the content you're learning. This engages both verbal and visual memory, making information easier to recall. It's like giving your brain 2 ways to remember the same thing. Self-explanation. Explain the material to yourself in your own words. For example, after reading a paragraph, try to summarize it out loud or write it down as if you're teaching someone else. This helps clarify concepts and reinforces learning. It's like having a conversation with yourself about what you're learning and ensures you truly understand the material. Retrieval practice. Retrieval practice is similar to active recall. Retrieval practice involves actively recalling information from memory. Use practice tests, flashcards, or even write down everything you remember about a topic without looking at your notes. This strengthens your memory and understanding by forcing your brain to retrieve information, which is much more effective than just rereading notes. Elaborative interrogation. Ask yourself why certain facts are true and how they fit into the bigger picture. For example, why does the water cycle matter in our environment? This technique involves deep questioning and thinking about the material's significance and applications. It deepens your understanding and helps you remember better because you're making connections to what you already know. Spaced repetition. Spaced repetition is a technique where you spread out your study sessions over time. Instead of cramming all your study material at once, review it in intervals. For example, review a topic after 1 day, then 3 days, then a week. Use tools like flashcards and review them at increasing intervals. Apps like Anki or Quizlet are great for this. It's like watering a plant regularly to help it grow. Interleaved practice. Interleaved practice means mixing different topics or subjects while studying. Instead of spending hours on just one topic, switch between a few. For example, study math for 30 minutes, then switch to history, then to science. This approach helps your brain differentiate between concepts and improves problem-solving skills. It keeps your brain active and engaged. Feynman Technique, named after physicist Richard Feynman. This technique involves teaching what you've learned to someone else or even to yourself. If you can explain it in simple terms, you understand it well. For example, explain a concept as if you're teaching a younger sibling. If you struggle, identify the gaps and review those areas. It's a powerful way to ensure you've truly grasped the material.